Now, why all this nostalgia for the opening of IKEA? Because they might be about to start a new retail revolution. They are opening a store, not a superstore, not miles out of town, but a high street store, taking over London's flagship Topshop, the first shop many see as they emerge from Oxford Circus underground station. Let's talk about what it all means with Professor Deborah Sugg-Ryan, who's a Professor of Design History at University of Portsmouth and a presenter of Trading Spaces on BBC Radio 4. And Kate Hardcastle is a consumer and retail expert. Morning to you both.
Hello.
Good morning.
Kate, first of all, is this a significant shift from the out-of-town superstore to the high street?
It certainly is. IKEA started down this road in 2019 and they've built these city centre assets, these models that don't look like those huge warehouses, those football stadiums full of Billy bookcases. And the format, I've been to one in New York, is quite neat. It's very much about trying to offer customers an ability to create best use at their home. So lots of planning devices, lots of technology used. You won't see the array of furniture on display, but they're talking about having a cafe and some homewares for sale here in London as well. So what they're trying to do is get their message into the city centres, try and speak to urban customers and try and keep relevant for a brand which has always done this throughout its brand life.
So it may seem mere details to you, Kate, but there are two questions I think people want to know who are listening. First of all, do I get my meatballs? And second of all, do we have that one-way system where you want to buy a plug and you have to go round sofas, bookcases, desks before you can get it?
First of all, they've assured us there's going to be a cafe. And if there's a cafe in an IKEA, then you're certain to be able to have your meatballs. And secondly, they are suggesting that the one-way route where we all follow each other like sheep to get our tea lights may be at an end. And they may let us free fall round the stores, which is very, very exciting. But obviously it's worked for them as a retail technique, as it's allowed us to just pick up a little bit extra on each shop.
Now, come on, Professor. Are we just getting a bit ridiculously nostalgic for what is, after all, just a shop?
I think the thing about IKEA is that it really changed the way that we shop in Britain for furniture. And I think it's had far more impact than Habitat, for example, because it really is the store that transformed our taste into a taste for the modern. And it struggled, actually, when it first began in 1987. And the thing that really turned it round was the Check Out Your Chintz advertising campaign in 1996 that coincided as well with the rise of New Labour a year later, and sort of came in on this sort of wave of modernity in Britain.
Well, isn't it time for another new wave of modernity? Do you not think, in a way, that IKEA will be replaced by some other unpronounceable furniture shop?
Well, I think the thing that is really interesting is that actually chintz is back with the cottagecore trend at the moment. And in fact, IKEA themselves have started selling some chintzy covers for their furniture. And if I think about my own children who grew up with IKEA furniture, I bought my first house in 1995. It was furnished with IKEA. I still have my Billy bookcases. And my children now are in their 20s and making their own homes. And so I think what's interesting is that in some respects there's a return for some sectors of the population back to this idea of chintz, and we can also see it in the kind of high end stuff. We've had the Downing Street redecoration scandal. So there's something really interesting going on about modernity and then a more nostalgic taste.
Kate, a more practical question. There are people asking on Twitter, which is, how do I get that bookcase on the tube, for goodness sake?
I'm sure home delivery will be absolutely part of the plan. This is about bringing that online and offline together. It'll be more of a visitor experience, which, for goodness sake, Oxford Street really does need that rejuvenation.
Yeah, and a quick last thought from you in 30 seconds, if you would, Kate. Is this a sign of confidence that the city centre in London is not dying?
Yeah, it's about the evolvement. It's very much about different types of stores, different types of activities as the future of our high street. So it makes good sense.
And a last word to you both, your favourite product. There we are. I don't mean it as advertising, but what do you remember? It's that bookcase, was it, Kate?
It was a futon for me. That was my dining table, bed, everything.
Professor
£99.
Ryan.
Well, I have loads of Billy bookcases because I'm an academic, but I also have some wonderful vases designed by Hella Jongerius, who was
Yes.
part of the Drogue Design Collective, which
Well,
are amazing.
Professor Deborah Sugarai and Kate Hardcastle, let me just say on behalf of the BBC, other stores exist.